Well, hello everyone. Thank you for watching. Today we are going to be talking about judges again, justices, people who are governing this nation in the high places compared to what it would be if the Christians had stayed involved and had stayed on the wall. What else? I've asked this week as I've written my prayer bulletin and talked to our intercessors across the nation, what else can corrupt politicians and evil judges do to the American citizens as a people? In order to have the victory in this nation, we must have a Supreme Court with righteous judges. And that is how we're praying. They just did a fundraiser in Hollywood for Hillary Clinton, $350,000 a plate. And the people that did it said, we're doing it because we want to make sure that he didn't say this, but I'll say it, the Solinsky radicals, the liberals, the progressive, the communist-minded people in this country, the godless people want to make sure they control the Supreme Court. That let me know that what we're doing as a ministry is right on with God. When you stir up the devil to the point that they'll pay $350,000 to $358,000 a plate to guarantee that people get elected to office that will keep our courts in the hands of the unrighteous, God is literally doing something, and that's what he's doing now. We know that the Republicans that are Democrats masquerading as Republicans and the Democrats, that's the Republicans, they have given this administration, the Democrat Party and the president everything they want. It's as though we have no representation. They've not represented the people who elected them. They are still not representing the people who elected them. That's why this election is so important. All masks have to come off. Christians have to rise as Christians, take a stand as Christians, vote as Christians, and confront the powers that be for probably the first time since 1947. Are we going to allow another 8 years of corrupt politicians controlling every aspect of our lives according to the Solinsky radical plans, or are we, as believers, going to take a stand? We are in a spiritual battle for this nation. Ignorance is destroying us as a nation, as a people, as a culture, and as Christians. God revealed to me that we must bring down the lie of the separation of church and state. And the only way to do that is to have a God-fearing Supreme Court justice. And I believe that justice is Roy Moore, the Chief Supreme Court Justice of the state of Alabama, appointed to that court. You can get my face facts and understand why I'm leaning in that direction and exactly what I believe God wants America to do in this election. We must have Christians, number one, on the right track. We've got Christians now, professing Christians, siding with the communists, siding with the rent-a-mobs, we'd rather have Hillary Clinton than have a businessman that they don't particularly like, based on the fact that they think he's not Christian enough or he's not conservative enough, that instead they had rather have Hillary Clinton. Like, duh, here we go. We must hear from God as believers. In Faye's Facts, dated 4/11, I'm going to be discussing that today. There is some vital information. You do not want to miss it. If you have to just tape it, watch it later. A lot of my people do. But there is vital information in today's program. Don't go away. Go call your friends and say Faye is on. And she is pulling down the strongholds over this God-blessed, and we are blessed still, blessed nation. I am Faye Harding, and this is Well, welcome back. We're going to talk about how to pray accurately, and that kind of praying, understanding the will of the Father, brings victory. But you must understand the battle you're in and how to win it before you can ever make a difference in the power of prayer. God still saves. I want people to know that. He still heals and He still delivers. We've turned our nation over to godless leaders. Our colleges and universities, we've turned them over to atheists, communists, Islam, Muslims. And as churches, we've just ignored our stand for God, and that is what's brought us to the culture that we now have in America. Basically, a godless generation. The Bible speaks of that in His Word. The signs of the times are everywhere. Chaos, confusion, compromise, blankets America like a Texas windstorm. The spiritual battle rages over this nation. The only way we will ever survive as a free people and a sovereign nation is to take a stand for God, His Word, and refuse to compromise another day. The word God gave me this week was in Ezekiel 22, 27 through 30, and it said, "Her princes in the midst thereof are like wolves ravening the prey, to shed blood, to destroy souls, to get dishonest gain, and her prophets have dabbed them with untampered mortar, seeing vanity and divining lies unto them, saying, Thus saith the Lord God, when the Lord hath not spoken." The people of the land have used oppression. They have exercised robbery. They have vexed the poor and the needy. Yea, they have oppressed the stranger wrongfully. And I sought for a man among them that should make up the hedge, stand in the gap before me for the land. A lot of people leave those three words out. For the land, that I should not destroy it, but I found none. Do you have time to pray for the land today? Have you ever prayed for this God-blessed land? Have you ever taken a stand for God, His Word? Have you ever professed God in the face of the enemy that seems to intimidate and bluff and bribe the children of the Most High God and dare the Bible to ever be quoted or to be upheld? We talked last week about the Dems and the Republicans being one and the same. There are people that believe that Mitt Romney actually threw the election to Obama. And boy, he has moved us to the altar of communism and the Islamic religion like no one else has. There is nothing stopping Sharia law from being an executive order from our nation's capital. It appears the same thing is happening again. Loud voices pretending to be conservatives are shouting they will vote for Hillary before voting for a self-made billionaire businessman that loves America and is awakened to the fact that there are politicians out to destroy America and her people. This is the only man that's running for office that says he will not eliminate Social Security. I'd like for all of my people to realize that. And this crosses gender, it crosses race, it crosses nationality, it crosses age, but he's the only candidate and that says he will not eliminate Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, which has been passed into law through the Paul Ryan $1.5 trillion omnibus bill to be eliminated eventually and vouchers to be given to us. You're not paying attention, my friends. We are going to pay a big price for the Obamacare debacle and for a Congress that literally they are not doing their jobs. They don't care that we want them to do their jobs. They don't care about elections that we have. And we have to wake up and take a stand. The people that are governing our country want to keep the Supreme Court in the hands of the radicals who have more respect for the Communist Manifesto than the Constitution, more respect for the Quran than the Bible, more respect for Allah than Elohim, more respect for Muhammad than Yeshua. And they are calling the shots. This is why I need you on board with me like I never have before. Our prayer ministry must intensify. Our partners must come forth. People, the world has all the money it needs, billions and billions of dollars. We've got a socialist candidate for president that raised $44 million in 1 month. I'm believing God for postage stamps, and our ministry is in demand across this nation. We are going to penetrate the inner cities, the slums, the ghettos, Hillary Clinton's villages and Valerie Garrett's slums. We are going in and we're going to throw them a lifeline. The people who are close to me, my insiders, we are expecting any day a great breakthrough from God. This is the year of Jubilee. This is the year of blessing or judgment, and you will receive what you really want. The senators now, right now, we're believing God for a new Supreme Court justice. I'm calling Roy Moore to be appointed to the Supreme Court. It appears our Supreme Court justice is serving at the pleasure of the president. We've been told why he's doing that, but we must have a court that has the fear of God. The Republican says, we're not going to give the liberals the opportunity to appoint a new justice. Well, they backtracked on that. When President Obama first nominated Merrick Garland to the Supreme Court, a liberal, the Senate Republicans were united in their wall of opposition. No meetings, no hearings, no vote. And while Garland's path remains a very uphill battle, there are Republicans that are starting to shift. 2 weeks into the nomination fight, 16 Republican senators now say they will meet with Garland, according to a running count by NBC News. That includes the senators up for re-election in the blue states. My dear friends, we cannot allow this to happen. That's why I need your prayer. I need the prayer teams joining me. If you have a prayer group, a prayer team, or you have a burden for America, unite with me. We can bind the powers of darkness, and we must do it right now. The Republicans are getting ready to throw us another bone, and this will change the course of America. Can't do it when God's people take a stand. The enemy cannot come through the powers of prayers of God's people. I have the names of those senators in my Faye's Facts. Senator Johnson, currently campaigning for re-election in Wisconsin, said he had no problem with meeting with President Obama's nominee. And it goes on and on and on. I can't cover them all in this program, but I just want you to know that we are up against a serious battle. We need a Supreme Court that will reverse the 1947 ruling of the separation of church and state, which was nothing but a lie. It was done by atheist judges for the purpose of eliminating Christianity in this country and raising up the banner of communism. I have several reports based on communism and what the requirements are, and we are batting 1,000 with the majority of the people we've elected to office. If we do not take them out in this election, what are we going to do? Please write me and say, Faye, I want to be a part. I want to know what you know, and I'm going to pray the way you pray, and we're going to see change, and we're going to see it expediently. Let me hear from you. Put a check in the mail and say, I believe America is going to have deliverance this year. Hi, I'm Faye Hardy, and just want to take a moment to invite you to become a part of our 2016 vision. Last year, I wrote this prayer planner, 120 days, doing it God's way, praying for America. You need to get your prayer planner now. Last year, we prayed for the outpouring of Pentecost. It came in Washington, D.C. on September the 13th. This year, we're praying for the Azusa Street outpouring. The last 40 days in this prayer planner is day by day praying for God to pour out His Spirit, His Azusa Street Spirit on this nation and bring the people back to Him. We need intercessors to join with us. Order it today. Become a part of our 2016 vision, and we will see this nation covered with the Word of God this year. Well, I've been talking about Christians staying on track where this election is concerned and where America is concerned. And believe me, we are getting a lot of attention. People are saying, Faye, you are telling the truth. On my conferencing call on Saturdays at 2 p.m., I brief our intercessors. We have between 35 and 49 people every Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And we have about a 2-hour prayer meeting with some of the most powerful prayer warriors in America. They're informed, they're focused, they're united, they're anointed. And that is a call you should plan to participate in. And you can call our office and get the phone number and the access code, or you can email me and say, Faye, I'd like to join in your conferencing call. Please give me the phone number and the conferencing code, the code, and we will get it to you straight away. Also, if you would like for me to come to your city and have an insight rally, I'm ready now to go back to traveling. For 3 months, I've been fighting literally for my health and life, but right now my strength is almost 100%, down to one doctor every 2 weeks now, and I'm ready to get on the road that we can raise up intercessors that understand how to pray for this country based on the will of the Father, not on the political process. And we've got people in our government that we must not drink their Kool-Aid. Christians, you must wake up. If you've got people running for office that have more in common with the Communist Party, the communist rent-a-mobs, than they do a businessman that says that he's seen the light and he wants to bring jobs back to America. He wants to deal with China. He wants to seal our borders. I think we should make sure that he's lying to us before we don't trust him to do what he is skilled at doing, and that is conducting business, honorable business, trustworthy business, instead of allowing just a few voices who've never been anything but politicians. They are literally, they glorify politicians, never had a business, never had a job, and Christians are going along with some of this, and you cannot do it. I'm not telling you who to vote for, but I'm telling you the truth, and you decide, but also decide how to pray for everybody running for office. The one person that is being touted as being a conservative, and the reason that you can't vote for Donald Trump is that he is not conservative enough. But the people that are saying that are literally giving you the impression that Paul Ryan is somebody that we can trust as a conservative. And they want to do everything they can to disenfranchise the voters that are not buying the way they're doing business, because it's disenfranchising the people in this nation who finally have a voice. I want to tell you just a little bit about Paul Ryan, and I want you to rethink who you're supporting, who you're just accepting a lot of their rhetoric with, especially Glenn Beck. I've never been so disappointed in my life. Glenn Beck spends every day literally trashing conservatives that he says are not conservative enough for him, and categorizing those of us who don't really believe that the Republican candidates that are trying to steal the election should be elected. Well, we have a right to that opinion. And the people who go with the other candidates have a right to that opinion. That is the American way. But to see a disenfranchising of the truth people in this country that want this country brought back to God, want a Supreme Court brought back to God, want the separation of church and state reversed, want the righteous in authority, you're going to have to really think about what you do and how you do it, but you've got to participate, but you've got to be on the right track. Let me just give you a little information. This is Paul Ryan. The $1.1 trillion Obama-Ryan budget will result in another deficit of over $400 billion with grant programs for every special interest group lined up at the federal trough. Paul Ryan has made his intentions clear. He represents his own self-absorbed interest, not the interest of the people. Ryan's omnibus bill will allow for a staggering 300,000 Muslim migrants to enter the United States. He refused to defund any of Obama's unconstitutional executive actions, and the bill gives $1.6 billion in handouts for illegal aliens. That's just 3 points. You have to get the face facts to know the rest. But I need your financial support. If Hillary Clinton can come off with $25 million in a 24-hour period, $300,000 per plate donors, Christians, you need to start supporting the truth. We need to back down the lies. We can't do it without you. Will you sit down today and say, Faye, I am going to help you get the truth out? Hi, I'm Faye Harding. Just take a moment to let you know that I do not believe that God is going to do anything else for this country until we begin to bring back the foundation of our nation from a Christian perspective. And I believe that we're going to have to do things God's way. We cannot glorify politicians anymore. We cannot glorify poverty anymore. For anyone who will pray with me 120 days, I want to send you as my gift to you my book, 120-Day Prayer Calendar, Doing It God's Way. You just need to pay the postage, $5.75. I want to put it in your hands. Also, our much sought after weekly prayer bulletin is in demand. If you want to know what's happening, how things are going week to week, please say, Faye, I'm going to partner with you today. Make that donation, and God bless you. Well, we've had some powerful programs in the past couple of weeks, and I know that you are getting the message. We cannot allow politicians to literally use their positions of power to bring America to a joblessness, a poverty, a demise for the U.S. citizens, to pave a way for non-citizens to take over our country. We can no longer ignore the plight that we are on as American citizens. I need grassroots Americans standing with me. In Central Florida, there was a report. They paid $65,000 to get a report about what to do with the homelessness that is taking place here, unlike anything they have ever seen. And the CEO, Andrea Bailey, said if you had 2,500 homeless families, they're in the woods, they're on the streets. We've got people living in worse conditions than the refugee camps in the Middle East, and we are doing nothing about it, but increasing the population thereof. She said if you had 2,500 homeless families, it would take $10 million $10 million to begin to scratch the surface. And she said, we don't have that right now. Well, they've had millions, but they've squandered it like they do everything else. And they paid $65,000 to see how they could rectify the problem. And I'm going to be calling this Andrea Bailey because I can give them a plan free with a path out of this unbelievable demise of American citizens. I have a plan. We've had it for Chicago for a year and a half. We're working that plan right here in Orlando at this time. But people, we need your support. God never told the government to feed the poor. He told the church to do it. The country has acted like that they can take care of lives without Jesus Christ, God, the Bible in prayer. They can't do it. They can print all the money they want to print. It is not enough. We must go and we must get our jobs back. We must give the pathway, a lifeline to the American citizens that our politicians, corrupt politicians, have squandered the money. And if when you see what is in the $1.5 trillion omnibus bill that most of the people who are running for office haven't even read, much less try to rebuke. They're too busy bringing down the people who voted for this country to be taken out of the hands of the evildoers. They're too busy bringing these people down to face reality because they want to stay on the same course. This election demands Christians vote. It demands Christians be on the right track. It demands a Supreme Court of righteous believers. I need to hear from you. Call me, email me, but most of all, you need to sit down and write a check for $50, $100, $500, $5,000. I need people that will help us get into the inner city, throw them a lifeline, and watch God bring them out. I have 25 names right here of homeless people that came to our meeting, and they said they cried and said, I can't believe that you want to help us get out of this place. We're working with a ministry in Orlando. Dr. Stubbs and her husband and her intercessors, I'm training them so we can throw a lifeline. We have got thousands of homeless in the woods, no help, and we've got politicians that have a plan. That plan is to bring American citizens down to a place we cannot function while they dictate what we're going to do with non-citizens, foreigners, enemies of this country. I need for you to go right now. Write me, call me, and help me.
Faye wants to hear from you. Her desire to see America come out of exile is raising up one of the most powerful, informed, anointed, and united prayer networks in America for America. She is organizing Christians for the U.S. Constitution to give uncompromising believers back their voice and witness. If this program has blessed you and you believe in what Faye is doing, contact her, pray with and for her, partner with her. She would love for you to host an Insight rally in your church or city. Organize an Intercessors with Insight prayer team or join one. For a complimentary pocket-sized constitution or Faye's fax, call or email Faye 407-265-0700 or faye.usainsight@gmail.com. Write Insight USA, P.O. Box 917689, Longwood, Florida 32791.